Sources. Two types in sources, voltage source and current source. In a voltage source, ideal voltage source and practical voltage source. In a current source, ideal current source and practical current source. First, what is the meaning of source? A source is a device which converts a mechanical, chemical, thermal or some other form of energy into electrical energy. Source is nothing but electrical energy, whatever it may be. That is in mechanical energy, chemical energy, thermal energy. Convert into electrical energy is called source. Voltage source. A voltage source is a two-terminal device whose voltage at any instant of time is constant and is independent of current drawn from it. Such a voltage source is called an ideal voltage source and having zero internal resistance. Voltage source ಎಂಬುದು two terminal device and it is independent on current drawn, so that ಯಾವುದೇ ರೀತಿಯ ಕರೆಂಟಿನಲ್ಲಿ ವೇರಿಯೇಷನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಇದ್ದರೂ ಕೂಡ voltage remains constant is called ideal voltage source. Any fluctuation in the current but the voltage remains constant, no any fluctuations in the voltage is called voltage source, and voltage source internal resistance is zero. So voltage internal resistance is zero, not connect in the load. So internal resistance is zero equal to not connect in a load. Next, practical voltage source. Practical voltage source is having some amount of internal resistance are known as practical voltage source. Practical voltage source is closed loop circuit. Due to this internal resistance, voltage drops takes place and it causes the terminal voltage due to reduce. The smaller is the internal resistance of voltage source, so it is depending on current source. Any fluctuation in the current source, the voltage is also differ. Some amount of voltage it will take place of difference. So practical voltage source is directly dependent on current source. That is symbolic representation of the ideal and practical voltage source. That picture is circuit diagram and characteristics of practical voltage source. Next is circuit diagram and characteristics of ideal voltage source. Batteries and alternators are the example of voltage source. An ideal current source is two-terminal circuit element which supply the same current to any load resistance connected across its terminals. It is important to keep it in mind. The current supplied by the current source is independent of the voltage source or voltage source terminals. It has infinite resistance. Ideal current source has infinite resistance. Ideal current source is independent of voltage source and ideal voltage source is independent of current source, so that any fluctuation in the voltage, any variations in the voltage in an ideal current source, the current remains constant only. And a practical current source is represented as an ideal current source connected with the resistance in parallel. In a circuit we are connected parallelly, resistance is called practical current source. It is dependent on voltage source. That diagram represents the characteristic of ideal current source and practical current source. Thank you.